See, the Patriots have now won back-to-back games for the first time since winning 3 straight in 2023, and they have a winning record for the first time in 6 years, back to the old Bill Belichick, Tom Brady days when they started the season 8-0 in 2019. So New England not just showing signs of life, it's a good football team.
Right, showing signs of possibly being a contender in the AFC, at least in my opinion. And this is what I have come to expect from Mike Vrabel coach teams. As somebody who is a Titans fan, we have seen this time and time again. Even when your talent level is not the equal of your opponent, Mike Vrabel's team is going to be competitive, even against the best teams in the NFL. And now you've got a great quarterback. What we saw from Drake Maye last night is showing that he is the face of the franchise in the Patriots organization, going 13 of 14 in the second half in the biggest moments, and especially when you can feed your receiver who you know he wants to have a big game with Stefon Diggs going against his former team. No matter what he says, we know Stefon Diggs wanted to put on a clinic there. So the Patriots, I was just looking at their odds. Last week to make the playoffs, they were plus 135. Now they're minus 210. So I feel like the value is probably gone on the Patriots to make the playoffs. But if I am putting my money where my mouth is and I'm saying, hey, this is a good team that certainly can hold their own against the best teams in the NFL, how about the Patriots plus 360 to win the AFC East? Right now, the Bills are still minus 425. Jenks, I understand that you're very high on the Bills still, and they're still a good team despite this loss. But minus 425? This feels like very steep odds on a team that, I don't know. You look at the rest of the Patriots schedule, and it feels like there are a lot of wins in there. I feel like at plus 360, those are some good odds on a very good Patriots team.
Yeah, I think you would have sprinkled on the Patriots, right? Like the Bills are still the class of the division, which is why you're laying so much minus money. And Josh Allen was not at his best last night. Threw a pick, had a fumble, 3 turnovers for the Bills in this game. So they talked about afterwards, we sort of gave this game away because despite those 3 turnovers, right, they were in it to the very end, took this 53-yard field goal or 52-yard field goal for the Patriots to get the dub. So the Bills are still the class here. But, yeah, I think your point is well taken, which is if you look at the schedule, if you look at how the Patriots are developing, if you look at the play of Drake Maye, then at plus 350, this is still a really good price, and it's because this is such a quality win as well. You know, I don't know a lot of people who expected them to go into Buffalo and win outright. Like, covering the number is one thing, winning outright is another, but certainly New England is trending in the right way, and if you want to put a little on them to win the division, you never know, especially with injuries and the way things work in the NFL, so I don't mind it.
Well, and especially because this is a divisional game and a head-to-head win against the favorite in the division when you're playing on the road. So logically speaking, like this was the tough one on the schedule. Then the next time that the Bills and Patriots face off, December 14th, and this game is in New England. So it feels to me if you have a team that's trending in the right direction and Drake Maye is only getting better, like that's a good thing that you have, you know, a while until you play the Bills again. And let's read off some of the schedule for the Patriots because, you know, the next few weeks, it looks like smooth sailing for New England. So they've got the Saints, the Titans, the Browns, the Falcons, and that game is in New England. I feel like their first major challenge over the next few weeks does not come until November 9th on the road to Tampa Bay.
Yeah, although the Falcons can be feisty. Like, I think the Falcons are a good team, and you know, it's interesting to watch that quarterback class, be it Jaden Daniels, or if you're looking at Drake Maye, looking at Michael Penix Jr., like all these guys are sort of progressing in fits and starts, some more than others, but the Falcons could be a threat. I will say the Browns are not a good football team, but Dylan Gabriel looked pretty good. The Browns' defense is solid. I just don't want to hand a team wins when they're still kind of developing because it's hard to win in the NFL, particularly if you're a team like New England that is still putting it together. So I wouldn't hand them 3 out of 3 the next few weeks, but I will say that is there a possibility they could go on a run? Absolutely.
Yeah, like obviously no wins are given in the NFL, and you know that if you play Survivor. But, like, my point being is that it is a winnable schedule. Like, They're not going on the road and playing all these tough teams. And in general, like, the rest of their schedule looks pretty easy. So if this is a team that's playing at the level that we saw last night, and it should be noted that the Bills did give them some freebies because this was far from a clean game from the Bills. And maybe you look at this game and you say, okay, if the Bills clean up some turnovers, especially a ton of fumbles that were very costly in this game, and the penalties. They had penalties for over 90 yards in this game, that this is still maybe the better football team here. And plus, when it comes to the postseason, because keep in mind that I capped my futures bets at like divisional regular season wins for the Patriots, because when it comes to the postseason, I still feel like you give the gentle nod and the respect to Josh Allen and the Bills, because they have been there and done that. And we still don't really know what to expect from Drake Maye, because he still is a very young quarterback.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the Bills are Super Bowl favorites, right? So they're not just the best team in the division. You can still make an argument this is the best team in football, right? So they are the final team not to be undefeated in the National Football League. So I'm not off of the Bills just because of this loss. This is an understandable loss. This is a good Patriots team. And also, I don't know how much you factor this into your handicap, but the Stefon Diggs revenge game was a real thing. I mean, he was great in this game. He said afterwards, quote, "It was lit. It was electrifying. I knew it was going to be a test for us." When you look at revenge games, a guy going back to where he played, a quarterback playing where he played before, do you factor this in at all? You can't really quantify it, but certainly there's some sort of motivation there. Stefon Diggs wanted to make a statement, and he did.
I think if the game script was out of control, maybe. But at the end of the day, they're trying to win the game. And point blank, Stefon Diggs is a true number one receiver. Like, remember, he put up, like, historic marks in Buffalo when he was with Josh Allen. So at the end of the day, I think it's simply a team trying to win a game and feeding their best receiver. Like, sure, it's great that he gets the emotional, high off of doing this against the Bills. But at the end of the day, like, the Patriots are more concerned with winning football games.
Yes, and also Stefon Diggs he's a fascinating case to me because he has all the talent, but he always wears out his welcome after a handful of years, right? Guys like that, when they end up possibly making the Hall of Fame, you're like, where's he going to go? Is he going to be a Viking? Is he going to be a Bill? Is he going to be a Texan? Not going to be a Texan. Is he going to be a Patriot? Because they're so mercurial in the way they carry themselves and how much they want the football that at some point teams say, okay, we're getting rid of you. But no question, he's been a huge weapon. And also, when you have a guy like that and a young quarterback, having a veteran receiver you can rely on is huge if you're a young quarterback like Drake Maye, when you have that number one option, that pure wide receiver one that you can rely on, and that just helps build your confidence. And we're seeing it in New England right as we speak.
Right, especially in primetime games. The lights are not going to be too bright for Stefon Diggs. And in fact, like, this is the type of game that he craves. So it's certainly something great for Drake Maye to land on. And also, I feel like for a second, we need to talk about the defense, because the Patriots' defense feels much improved, and they did spend a lot of money trying to shore up some of the problems they had last year. So anytime you can limit somebody who's explosive as James Cook to 15 carries, 49 yards, 3.3 yards per carry, that is a great starting point for any defense going against this rush attack that's really tough to defend. Anytime you have Josh Allen, who is a running threat himself, and James Cook behind the line of scrimmage, that is a tough rush attack to stop. And the Patriots did a very good job of doing that, limiting this high-powered Bills attack to only 20 points.